Hi, if you're new here and stumbled across this video expecting a normal game developer to talk about his game like a normal person, oops. Oh my god, hi gamers. What better way to promote my own game than insane anecdotes about my artistic decisions and influences and all that shit? If you want to know what the fuck is happening, you can go watch my previous Sorta dev videos and you'll get the gist of it. It's fine. I made this thing. You can trust me. Alright, now I finally get to talk about Chapter 2. I'd recommend actually playing the game so that any of this makes sense. Or you could just watch and be confused as hell. That could be funny. I mean, the game's called Myths Are 100% True. That's already pretty fucking funny. Ah yes, the incredibly rare night beach level. You'd think you're on Myth Island and it's very scary, but don't be afraid, it's actually more of a peninsula. Thank god, if it was an island, I would have been beside myself. Now look at your screen, see these new guys, they're called docks. Kinda like this thing called Dax, but it's docks because it's a sea monster. They laid out these shark fin projectiles that are a reference to Monster Party. That's already a deep cut, but now look at this. It's GTA Myth Hunter Sea Monster. This weird shadow algae looking thing that's in the shape of a hammerhead shark that's clipping into the ground for some reason. My character design really just does whatever the hell. Ah, and the fins leave behind this trail of splash water is a reference to another part of the same video where a fast as fuck martyr runs across the 7 seas. Now I gotta talk about the music in this level, and like all things in life, it comes back to DJ Homer's Simpsons remix. This has got to be one of the most baffling music choices for a Myth video I've ever heard. I love it. Referencing that in a game whose reception is so positive as of right now is just so funny to me. Now, our level theme can't use voice clips from Beavis and Butthead or something because we'd get sued. But it's okay. Mudet figured out how to do this without sampling any TV shows. He used the goddamn anti-birth voice lines I did 10 years ago.
You know, the Empress, you filthy, you know. It's like muscles, except in tears.
I'll be honest, I hate this, but it makes so much sense. It took a lot of willpower for me not to throw away the entire song out of embarrassment, but I cannot lie to myself and say that it doesn't fit perfectly for what the song is going for. God damn it, Mudith, you've done it again. The first half of this text references a Halo 3 creepypasta of all things. This game sucks, man. Anyway, here's a cool detail in this awesome video game. The item blocks usually have their mouthful because, you know, they're eating foods such as salads and macaroni and metal coins. But rarely they can just be empty. Someone nearby must have just taken it out of their mouths and... Wait, who the fuck is that? You know, I just remembered the core gameplay mechanic of dealing more damage the more enemies are in one shot was probably inspired by this obscure Doom glitch that Decino talked about. Honestly, thank you for making this video. Put it on the list of influences. Before we move on to the next level, I should point out the obscure fact that the level icons are based on specific thumbnails. It's mostly pivot videos because this game has everything. I regularly name drop YTPMVs in this game because I think they're cool, but more importantly, nobody stopped me. Ah, the Ghost Guards. Believe it or not, named after a myth in San Andreas. Though it used to be called the Casino Destroyer, which is another myth, but I went with Ghost Guards because it sounds more whimsical. Plus, they do appear in every strip club and casino. I didn't know that. I've never really been to either of those in real life, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, these arcade machines show my previous games, but did you notice how New Ribbon Divide has a mouse and keyboard instead? This is a reference to how that game is gay. This club in particular really loves Bone2.exe. Okay, we're at the end of 2-2. People who can't handle abstract strippers, look away now. Yeah, I bet you're scared. You're thinking now, why the hell do they look like that? They're not even dancing, they're like performing actions. Well, these weird abstract qualities are actually considered attractive in this world. I mean, come on, they have like hourglass-shaped figures. Well, you don't like hourglasses now? Ah, that's okay. We can still talk about obscure bullshit. Look at Luvenica. Her character design is inspired by the protagonist of Top Banana. I know my fans, some of you already know what Top Banana is, but in case you don't and you suffer from epilepsy, I would not recommend looking up that game. She's also built like a fridge, which I'm a big fan of character designs like that. Alright, let's calm the fuck down and talk about something a little different. People as of late have been interested in this fruit Arago aesthetic or whatever. If someone said my game has that aesthetic, then sure, sounds good to me. Though I never thought about that while drawing. I was just combining like 2000 stuff and Slavic towns and good futures from Sonic CD. You know, I guess Sonic CD counts as an influence on the game. Put it on the list. The location of this level is called Sill City, and now it's time for me to sound insane. See, the word for and in Serbian is I, and so the show Sex and the City is called Sex I Grad. This is a game dev video. Because of this language quirk, I used to never be sure if the show was called Sex and the City or Sexy City. So for Sill City, you'd either get Sill and the City or Silly City. Do I live here? This is a good scene. That's a console game being played in the back of a car, and it's like a shooter game with split screen and everything. That's a reference to this specific moment in a famous Halo 3 launch day video where a guy had a similar setup in a parking lot. It's very whimsical in its own strange way, which fits my game's tone pretty well. Ah yes, the new myth, inspired by a Spelunky enemy and named after an SCP, but its character design is a combination of a few guys. Here, let me put them on the screen for you. Somehow it all came together to make a pretty good robot design. It's a pretty cool enemy how you have to guess and imagine where it's gonna be once you snap a photo. Finally, this guy that keeps accidentally launching his shoes at you trying to kick a ball. Saw it in real life. Okay people, 2-4, let's talk about Palanta. So in the intro, you can actually see a silhouette retract back into the TV. That's a reference to this famous classic hoax video of like a TV ghost girl in San Andreas. Now Palanta's character design is... Alright, cat's out of the bag, I should talk about this. Balan Wonderworld is a 2021 platform game developed by Arze. So the super myths are usually inspired by infamous video games that the internet loves to bash. Although only kind of, but not really. So for the sake of simplicity and narrative, I just categorize them as failed video games. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect the Newgrounds-ass myth game to have failed video game Gijinkas. But luckily I mixed in a bunch of other influences in there to make the characters more original. Take a look at the ones for Palanta. Great thing about making the characters original is that I made them up so I can do whatever the hell I want. I could just say that when Palanta takes his hat off, he's bald and not like an anime twink or whatever the fuck. This attack is based off Mr. Dark from Rayman 1, but only kind of, because this game is not actually Rayman 1, so don't be scared. Also, now that I look at it, these fin bubbles and fireworks as bullet patterns feel like a Gungeon thing to do. You know, Enter the Gungeon is actually pretty good. It's okay to like Enter the Gungeon. Don't put it on the list. Some of the TV screens in Phase 3 are pretty funny. Like, you got the dud, except it's Hlev. And this one's my Snoopy version 1.0 OC that I had when I was 11, who had the powers of Poseidon, which might be one of the funniest fucking concepts I've ever came up with as a kid. Anyway, there's a musical sequence, they talk it out and everything, and that's chapter 2 for you. Wow, that sure was a nerd talking a lot. Anyway, I'll do the same thing for chapter 3 sometime in the near future. I want to do something unrelated for the next video, so for now, thanks for watching. Buy my video game.